Hello everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in to another episode in the series here. My name is Dominic and I am the host of the Android Factory. Last episode we went ahead and began our implementation of the Android bottom sheet, and in this case here we've actually gone ahead and allowed the user to select different sort orders or options here. Um, Looking at it now, one thing we can clean up is maybe on this page here we can show them which sort has been selected, because right now it's difficult to tell. But if we have none, we kind of default to this priority-based sorting, and then if we select any of these other ones, we actually just end up with an empty state here because we're not doing anything. And so if we take a look at our to-buy view model, to recap here, our update home view state function gets called when we change our sort. So upon setting that to a new value, we update the field, and then we call this function again to generate a new view state. And as you can see here, the other options, the category oldest and newest, are just not there at the moment. So let's just go ahead and implement these. Okay, so after a pretty quick implementation here of the oldest and the newest, they work pretty similarly, but we just go ahead and create a header item here for ourselves, and then we sort our items by the created at, which is just a timestamp, a long value, and then we just loop over the entities and add them all to the list. We do the opposite for the newest. We can go ahead and sort by descending, so that's going to go ahead and basically flip the order of our list here, and instead, sorted by would arrange a list of numbers in incremental order, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and sort by descending would go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so obviously the oldest items are going to have the smallest created at timestamps, right? And then the opposite will be true for the newest items. So we have our list here, and if we just go ahead and select the oldest, we can see it all shuffle. Now our priorities are all completely different, and that should be true, right? So if we were to add one of these, let's just say bottom question mark, and we'll set it to a high priority. If we end up going backwards, the item here should be at the bottom, right? Because that was the one that was created the newest, right? The most recent one. So then if we go ahead and change it to newest, we can see basically the entire list do a little flip, and then the bottom appearing at the top. One thing you might notice is the list flipping there in, as we kind of change things. So I'm going to see if, as we change the sort order, so I'm going to go ahead and just see if we can say finding epoxy recycler view. Supposed to lay something where we're going to set smooth scroll to position 0. So this should, after we update our view state and a half second has passed, we smooth scroll to the top of the list here. So let's see how that looks. If we go to oldest, it looks pretty good as far as, there's a little bit of snapping there, but I think it kind of makes sense, it works out. So I guess maybe we can make it 1 second here just to maybe make it, a little bit, make it feel a little better. Well, there's nothing there, but also there's nothing there, or there's no change there, but then we can see it kind of, feel like it's a cohesive unit of something or cohesive action, updating the list and then scrolling to the top of the list. So I think that's just Epoxy doing its thing to kind of move things around and keep the views on screen that you were looking at, I guess. Is that what's going on? So I want to play 2 and then the newest. Yeah, I think that's what's happening. I think it's trying to keep the views on screen there. There might be a better way of doing that, but at the moment this will work for now. And then we can just kind of see our little conglomerate of things, change the priority here, and we could build this out a little more, maybe, to say like within the last week, or within the last day, within the last 3 days, within the last week or something like that. But for now, I just want to get these different sort orders working. So I'm going to go ahead and also implement this category here, category sort. Okay, so I think this works pretty similar to the none sort as far as sorting them by priority. So I basically copied the code over here, but instead of dealing with priority, we're dealing with the current category ID. Right, so we set our category ID to something that's invalid, the no ID. And we can't actually set it to the default category ID of none because it is possible that the elements that have no categories associated with them are like we do support having items with no categories associated with them, so we can't use that. So we need to use something that's even different from that. So we're just going to go with this no ID. We do have to sort them by something, so we can choose what we want to sort them by. I'm going to leave it as sort by descending, so it's just going to, well, actually, you know what? Okay, so I think this should sort things alphabetically by category name, which will, I guess, be a pretty reasonable approach for that. But then we basically apply the same logic where we're just looping through all of our items. We're seeing if the category is of the same type, and if it is, then yeah, we actually have to do it this way. So here we're just sorting our elements by category, alphabetical by category, and then we can loop through each of our items and check if the category ID does not match the one that the current ID, whatever it's set to, and then if it isn't, then we update our category ID, we add our header, and then we add our item. Otherwise, we just add our item. It's applying the same logic here as the priority sort, if we will. So we can go ahead and see all these different items in here, and then if we go ahead and select category, we can see them all change around, and then we snap back to the top, which is great. So now we can see A, D, G, H, N. Yeah, that works. I don't know why I didn't know the alphabet for a second. But if we change the toilet paper to, let's say, be a part of our Amazon, go ahead and update it. We see that now flings all the way up here, and we now have two elements in our Amazon. And let's see if we get rid of this dummy category 1, the entire category goes away. So yeah, there we have it. We have the ability to kind of update the sort here based upon the user's feedback, and then we handle, updating the data on screen here. So I think that's pretty nifty. Hopefully this could be helpful if you're kind of looking for different things. I think the category is probably going to be the best one, to be honest, at least in my personal experience so far. I don't think we need to get the nails from the grocery store. So yeah, you can go ahead and see. So that's a little annoying, that like automatic thing. So you know what, maybe we'll just deal with the weird jumping that ends up happening when we update the list. At this point here, we have basically built out exactly what I've set out to build out as far as supporting the different types of sort, and maybe we'll get into filter or maybe even searching some items. But as you can see here, all of this is basically fueled, all the work that we've been doing was just in this 2x view model here. All we need to do is kind of come up with the data in the correct format. We go ahead and post it to our view model, to our live data, which is observed in our view layer, and then the epoxy controller takes care of displaying the rest. So hopefully you can see now why the view state is so powerful and super convenient and helpful and whatnot. So I'm happy to have made that refactor so that we can just quickly support this kind of stuff, and then filtering if we want to get into it. But if you made it this far in the video, I'd appreciate a like, and let me know if you have a good solution for how we're supposed to change this. How it just kind of snaps around there. I'd love to hear some feedback, maybe learn something that I don't know off the top of my head right now, and otherwise, I'll catch you guys in the next one. So, thanks.